It's good day to brew, baby. What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millsy. Back with Hometown Commander. We are back for our final episode of Millsy Brews when it comes to Murders at Karlov Manor content. Millsy Brews is the show where I brew my version 1.0 deck list of the commander in front of us on my quest to brew the magic world. Today we're finishing off Murders at Karlov Manor with Etrata Deadly Fugitive. Kind of the first read, I wasn't sure how much fun we get to have with it, but after brewing it, I think this deck looks like a ton of fun. If you kind of care about that archetype where you get to mess with your opponent's stuff or use your opponent's stuff, I think Etrata's perfect for that. There's a lot of ways to really have fun with it and mess with our opponents and kind of throw off their game plans. But if you're just in the deck list, it's going to be down in the description below. Etrata Deadly Fugitive is a 3-mana 1/4 vampire assassin with death touch. It says face down creatures we control have 2 blue/black. Turn this creature face up. If you can't, exile it, and you can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. And it says whenever an assassin we control deals combat damage to an opponent, cloak the top card of that player's library. Well, if you haven't figured out what we're trying to do, we're trying to hit our opponents with assassins, and to cloak, we take the top card of the we take that card or that creature, put it face down. It becomes a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. It's basically just like that. Disguise mechanic in the new set, but for any card. So it's kind of like the old manifest mechanic, but instead of bringing it in with as a 2/2 with no abilities, it comes in with that ward 2. So really what we're trying to do is hit our opponents with our assassins and give the top cards to the libraries. Now, if they're spells, we can pay for her ability to play them, which is always pretty great. If not, we can just keep them face down and keep using them as 2/2s. Now, I guess the first question is going to be, Millsy, how do we take our opponent's things and turn them into assassins for our benefit? And the answer to that question is we have a couple ways to do that. There are things like Maskwood Nexus and Arcane Adaptation, to turn everything we own into assassins, and that way we can keep the party train going. We can also use things like, Kindred Strategy to keep drawing cards and get access to more of our assassins as we do that. But I think that's the big goal. Use things like Biden of Thassa and things like that as we attack our opponents. But try to get all of our creatures to be assassins so that we're getting more and more cards off our opponent's library. Of course, the card we all love to hate, we can use something like Roaming Throne to get more triggers off of Etrata. I love the idea of using something like Spark Double to copy Etrata to have multiple of these triggers. Same thing with something like Sokka, Shima, to get multiple Etratas that we were getting multiple things as our assassins are getting in for damage. The other cool part is because we're playing assassins, we do technically have an alternate win con in Ramses Assassin Lord. Whenever a player loses a game, if they were attacked by an assassin this you controlled, you win the game. So we do an alternate win con that way. But really, most of our deck is either reliant on assassins that are going to try to hit our opponents or ways to get our opponent's card face down in our control. We have things like the Cyber Controller, which can mill our opponent's system cards and put them face down under our control as 2/2 Cybermen. But hey, there's still more creatures that we get to use to our benefit. We're using things like Cryptic Coat to take cards off of our library. Death in Heaven can take the same thing of cards off our opponent's libraries and make them into creatures. Ugin's Mastery kind of plays alongside with Cryptic Coat, taking our own cards and putting them face down, which we can always flip them back if they're assassins. If not, they're just 2/2s that we get to use for our benefit. We're playing things like Training Grounds and in the Enigma Jewel to try to make Etrata's effect cheaper, so we can flip up those things for only 2 minutes instead of 4 to take advantage of what we might pull from our opponent, as well as we're trying to use things like Aqueous Form and Winged Boots and Whisper Silk Cloak to make certain of our assassins unblockable so that we can make sure we're always hitting somebody and taking cards off of their library, because I feel like that's going to end up being the point of what we're trying to do. We are playing a little bit of the morph mechanic. It makes sense. It makes sense too, since we're going to be trying to take cards off our opponent's library or our library. Why not use things like Vesuvian Shapeshifter or Stratus Dancer, these morph or mega morph for cards that flip face us and give us effects? We might as well use them because we have things like Cryptic Cloak that can put our own things face down, or we can just cast them face down on our own and use them to take advantage, when we need them. Otherwise, we can just leave them face down and try to use some of our other abilities to make them into assassins. But we do have a lot of really fun assassins in the deck. I mean, we have a bunch of shapeshifters that are effectively assassins that we can get down for really cheap. Changeling Outcast can't be blocked, so it's almost always going to be able to hit somebody with things like Universal Automaton and Shapesharer. These really cheap shapeshifters that are going to come down as assassins and make sure that we always have something to try to hit somebody with. I love things like Hired Poisoner, 1 mana, 1/1 with Death Touch. Gruul Assassin can start out as a small creature, but if we level it up, can start being removal for our opponent's creatures. But again, the point is we're trying to make most of our assassins be small and shifty and be able to hit well. But we also have things like Masker Girl, both the old one that can be a pseudo board wipe and the new one, which can give all of our assassins Wither, making our opponents not want to block them as much and just try to really take advantage of what we have on the board. We have things like Vein Ripper to punish our opponents for their things or our things dying. And overall, just playing as many assassins as we can that have some sort of value while they're on the board so that they're not just sitting there, that they're actually attacking and hitting at our opponents. We do have Etrata, the Silencer, the one from Gildor Ravnica, in here as well. I don't expect to ever actually win with Etrata, but if it is there, if we can potentially hit somebody enough times with it or find it. I don't expect to, but again, it is a way for us to do that if we wanted to. But again, the game plan is hit our opponents, use these copy effects to make more copy of Etrata, get more of our opponent's things manifested face down to our control, and just have fun hitting our opponents, taking their things, and just pushing our control into the game. We have things like Haunted One to try to protect our board and make them undying so they come back. Ugin can make us more manifest cards off top of our library, again, to try to get access to more things. But really, I think it's just assassin game plan to try to hit our opponents. But instead of something like Ramses, where we're just trying to end the game with our assassins, here we're using our assassins to just get more creatures from our cards from our opponent face down as creatures, and then maybe we can use that ability to kind of use them, cast them, and steal some of our opponent's big things. But let's get into our playtest. Human a 4-lander, which is not something you see very often in Dimir, so I think we're going to take it. Turn 1, I don't see any. I mean, we do have the Gruul Dawes. That is a play we can make. So I'd say let's put that swamp down, get that down, and get that ready to go. Remember, Etrata is 3 mana, so if we can get her down on turn 3, might potentially put that assassin somewhere and start getting cards online. Maskwood's a great draw. That's going to help us a ton once we start getting cards down under our control. So we can get this Choked Estuary and reveal this swamp in our hand. Now we could get the Rogue class down, and if we have an attack this turn, then we could potentially cast some of those things later. So I think that's what I do, play the Rogue class, try to get this Gruul Dawes in. If we do, we get that card, that player, top of their card face down, and then if we level this up later, we can play those cards. Otherwise, we're just getting the party started. Turn 3, play that swamp so that next turn we can get that Sunken Hollow in. And here I just, let's just slam Etrata and try to get in with somebody with Gruul Dawes. If we do, we get a card off top of the library. If we don't have an attack here, I think we just hang back. But again, try to hit somebody. If so, we get another card with Rogue class, and we get the card face down with Etrata. So now we have one of those face down things laying around. We play that Sunken Hollow for turn. I think realistically it would make sense to play the Maskwood Nexus here. Make everything we control into an assassin, or everything we play from our hand that's a creature into an assassin. Because now that 2/2 that we just took last turn is now an assassin. But if we can get it in somewhere, we're going to get another card. Try to take an attack here. Again, if we hit somebody, great. If we don't, that's okay. We're just going to try to put these in the right position to get into our opponents. If not, force them to take a block or a bad block in our favor to take advantage. Well, turn 5, we'll play that Temple of Deceit because we purposely didn't play it up till now. We wanted to kind of have our mana. So we are on 4 mana here on turn 5. Wish we could use something like Kindred Discovery, but that's okay. Right into Being is kind of a fun card, putting one of our cards face down. We could also just get 2 more assassins on board. I think I kind of like that plan, getting the Heart Stabber and the Changeling down. We can tap an untapped creature we control to give this flying till end turn if we want to. So if we take something face down and we don't want to slam it into somebody, we can do that. Again, we still have 3, maybe 4 or 5, depending on how last turn went and how we attacked. Get them in, try to get more cards. And from here, we're just going to continue to hit into our opponents. Now, the cool part about this turn, now that we have 5 mana in that Dark Ritual, is we could go up on Rogue class and play this Kindred Discovery. My only warning about the Kindred Discovery now is because we have so many assassins, we don't want to be attacking so much that we're just going to run our library out. So I think here I would be pretty careful. Leveling it up all the way is 7 mana. I think I might just Dark Ritual and level this the whole way up, giving all of our creatures menace, and then we can play cards exiled with Rogue class. So now we're kind of taking our opponent's things twice, right? We're taking it on the Rogue class, and we're taking it on the Manifest, and then this is going to give us a great situation now to be in, where regardless of if Etrata's out, we still have Rogue class that's taking advantage of our opponents, and hopefully we can turn this board state into something good. Well, let me know, what do you think of Etrata down in the comment section below. I didn't expect to like this deck, but I think this deck is fun. It's to me, it feels a lot like Captain Nagathrod from Baldur's Gate, the blue-black horrors deck that I've started to really enjoy playing in the pre-con. And to me, it reminds me a lot of that. Hit your opponent, try to take their things and use them to your benefit. But I would love to know what you think of Etrata down in the comment section below, and I will catch you guys next time.